Loud. All right, no swearing now, everybody.
Actually, my shirt.
I run on caffeine, dog hair, and cuss words. Nice.
Super professional for my work day.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Oh my. Gotta have some fun.
Absolutely.
All right, we do actually have a pretty big group. If it's okay, I'll start as soon as I let my dog in the room because she's scratching at the door. Great thing about working from home. But other people obviously will hop on, but I'll go ahead and kick us off to make sure that we're using our hour as possible. And for those of you, I recognize most of these faces, but just in case, my name is Shelly, and I am a volunteer. I'm now a volunteer with FABA. I coordinated May Spike Month last year, and I am not going to coordinate it this coming year, but I am trying to help Deb just get some things moving because she's running 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I really am kind of just the administrative person trying to bring everybody together to get us talking much earlier, because that was the #1 lessons learned from last year, was start earlier.
Right.
So here we are. So I'm going to give some of the slides because I prepared the slide deck, but I'm going to turn it over to Deb in some cases. So Deb, mentally prepare yourself. And then we also have some love to ride things where there are love to ride people on here. So Chelsea and Thomas, thank you for being here. And they may jump in as well on some things. And then of course, for everybody on this call, the purpose of this call, as is on the screen, is to really chat about the ideas for the 2023 swag and partnerships and what all that looks like. And it's really to kick us off to help us all start taking action now versus waiting until May. So that's really the purpose of this. And I actually hope to have more meetings. I was thinking monthly, but we can talk through all that as to what all of you need to help keep you motivated and help make sure that you are also planning for May Spike Month to make sure that next year is, wait a minute, I have a slide for this. It's not working. Oh wait, oops, I'll have to get there in a second. So the meeting agenda, this is just what I had laid out for the day, but again, we can go any direction we need to. And I see I didn't fix my numbering. Darn it. I thought it was perfect, but it's not. So pretend those numbers are in order. I apologize. I did this in haste. So as far as the meeting today, I wanted to talk about in 2023, what kind of our vision was, and then talk a little bit about lessons learned from 2022, because we collected those for a reason and we don't learn from them if we forget them. So I put them in here for us just to chat about. And then we wanted to talk about some budget pinch points and then brainstorm ideas from this team to talk about what you recommend. And then we have swag lessons learned, swag distribution. We have some ideas there. And then really the what you can do now. In other words, all of you, not just FABA, all of you really should start taking action now. So we have some things that we're recommending that you do. And then we want to know how we can help you implement those things. If it's just a friendly reminder, if it's holding meetings, if it's brainstorm sessions, I don't know. We just want to try to make sure everybody is starting as early as possible. And then of course, questions is the last slide. So now this is my bum. We want to in 2023. We were really trying, we tried to do this some last year, but because it was the first year and I didn't really know what to do. We were kind of like, I think we said a couple times, we were throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what stuck. And so this year we're going to try to more refine that, but I still want to stick with one of the main goals that was important to me that I shared with all of you, is that we want to target non-cycling populations and communities also. So it's not just non-cycling, but it's really easy to target cyclists because they already like to ride bikes. So, easy peasy there. But really, as far as the mission and goal of May Bike Month, it's to get more people on bikes. And so in 2023, I just wanted to highlight one of the important points is indeed to try to really think through those non-cycling populations and communities, how we can introduce them to May Bike Month, how we can get them on bikes, and how we can get them riding. Next one is that we were hoping for really strong partner participation this year, hence the early meeting in early November. and that is just something that we're going to continue to try to push and offer up assistance as much as we can. And then market more. I think one of the challenges that we had last year was just associated with getting it out there. Again, like Rancho did the big sign, and I know Citrus Heights did some stuff. Like there was a lot of people that did stuff. But as far as marketing the events and marketing the rides and marketing the activities that we do, we really wanted to get it out there more. And so that's one of our goals as well. And then, of course, go big. Last year, again, spaghetti on the wall. This year, we wanted to really hone in our focus, and we want to go big, get as many people on the left to right side as possible. So talking quickly about the lessons learned from 2022, I have them broken into two categories. So this slide is partners in SABA, and then the next slide is love to ride. So we'll talk about them separately. And I did warn love to ride. So if they want to talk about these, they can. But just a friendly reminder to all of us that these are the things that we said last year would help us be better next year. So I just wanted to make sure that we were all seeing them, that they were front and center, that we were reminded about them. First one is that hosting inter-organization competitions worked really well. And one of the examples that you all provided was just like a floor-to-floor competition. And so that I thought was really fun and needed to bring it up. Hosting kickoff events. I actually got that from a few different people that kickoff events were important. And so one of the things that SABA is going to do is we're going to focus on hosting less events because the events about killed us last year. But we're going to try to, it's farther down the list, but we're going to try to attend existing events instead of creating our own. But we are going to host a kickoff event basically for our region, as well as some kind of closure event. So I think SABA's plan is to host two. This is Deb's plan, SABA's plan. Okay, cool. I'm getting the thumbs up. Is to host two events, but the rest of them will indeed be attend existing events. So we would like to encourage you all, the partners, to also do something similar and to partner with each other on those, including us. So if you want to tap onto our kickoff event, or if you can hold kickoff events in your region, that was just something that we all said is a really good way to get May Is Bike Month going. So the next one is partnering with kids bike companies to host kids bike demos. So this was one that I learned, and actually somebody else brought it to the table as well, really targeting families. And in this case, kids are limited on the Love to Ride site. However, getting kids to ride actually motivates parents to ride, because parents want something that they can do with their families. And so even if the kids can't register on the Love to Ride site at this point, it's still kind of neat just to get the parents motivated to get out there. And it's something really cool that they can do with their kids, especially when parents are sometimes limited as to what they can do with their kids. So that was one that we brought up. I experienced it and somebody else experienced it as well. Schedule subject-based rides. So mural rides, garden rides, coffee rides, customers, that should say costumes, again, with the editing. Really sorry, I, again, did this in haste. So that's another one, that any kind of rides that you can do, they don't have to be big hoorah things. They can just be like, hey, let's go for a ride, post it on social media, get out there. They can be little, but those were things that got people excited about riding. And in some cases, people who didn't normally ride got excited about riding because they wanted to be a part of that subject, whatever it is. Like in the case of the garden ride, we had people out that we'd never seen before. The next one is attend existing events. And this is a big one as far as one of the things that I recommend that you do now is actually start creating a list of events in your areas that are not necessarily cycling related. So they could be music events, they could be movie events, they could be any type of event, and reach out to that event organizer now and say, hey, by any chance, can we have a May Is Bike Month table? You know, go out, swag, do whatever it is that you want to do, but basically add on to existing events. That also, it furthers the view of trying to target non-cyclists, because if you're going to events that aren't necessarily cycling events, you are getting people to know about May Is Bike Month who wouldn't have known about it otherwise. So next one is strengthen connections to safe routes at school and other youth-friendly activities. Somebody brought that to the table, and I thought that was really good. Schools are a fantastic way to market a large group of people easily. So that is something that somebody recommended that I thought was a really good one. And then focusing on regional days, this was a point of contention last year because we had some confusion over bike to work day. So I already have the dates here so that you can see what they are. Throw them on your calendars, get pumped, organize events, do whatever you want to do. But bike to work day is on a Friday this year, so there is no confusion. It is May 19th. The tough one last year, which we feel like we didn't do a great job on, was the bike to school day. It's May 3rd, so it's right at the beginning of May. So if you wait until May to plan, you're going to miss bike to school day. So you really have to start planning for bike to school day much, much, much earlier than May. And then somebody recommended ride into Pride, which would be the last day. So it's basically, June is Pride Month, and to hold a ride or some sort of event the last day of May, which could be some sort of May Bike Month closure, that would be a ride into Pride subject ride. And that was something that somebody recommended, so I included it. So those are the lessons learned from 22 related to the partners in SABA. Now, before I move on, comments, concerns, ideas, suggestions? Okay.
Shelley, we might be doing something out here in Elk Grove. And this is something I haven't talked to anyone about actually, but there's we do have a contact with the Elk Grove School District, Darren Antovich. I think Kaylee's on this call too. From the city. But Darren suggested that we get a hold of the PTA at one of the elementary schools. I happen to know the principal. The principal and her husband ride a tandem with the Elk Grove Cycling Club.
Oh, fun.
That's great. And so I was going to get a hold of Darren and then get a hold of the principal and see if we could get something going just as a pilot project with that one elementary school, working with the PTA. That way we get the parents involved first, and then the parents bring the kids, so to speak. And this particular school is very strong as far as May is Bike Month. They already do bike to school day, and they call it ride and roll or rock and ride or something like that.
Very cute.
Anyway, but they're already very active. They've been active for the past few years. So that's another way of getting both the parents and the kids active is to go through the PTA.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm actually going to write it down to make sure that it goes out in the presentation. Sorry, PTA involved.
Yeah, I'm just going to
Great
jump in while
suggestion.
Shell's taking notes for a second. Just say the connection between kids and parents through PTA, through church groups, through community centers, through schools is really strong, because as Shell started by saying, it's a great thing for kids to do with their parents and a great thing for the parents to do with their kids. So bike rodeos, etc. All the above.
Yeah, love it. I love it. But the PTA is indeed, that's another, it's a very specific organization. I like that. Jeff, I see that your hand is up. Go for it.
Yeah, just real quick, and to that point, just to tag on to that, also another opportunity that might be worth pursuing is there are a couple of regional bike parks. There's the Fair Oaks Bike Park, which has really been growing in the last couple of years, a great coordinator out there, which is a lot of kids and parents. And then also in Elk Grove, there's the Elk Grove Bike Park, probably a little bit of an older demographic and maybe less parents and kids, but still opportunities there. So anyways, just wanted to raise those up. There's a lot of energy on social media around both of those parks, and there might be other bike parks that I'm not aware of, but just a thought.
Nice. Great suggestion. I like that one because bike parks tend to bring out the mountain bikers and go dirt.
A lot of dirt, exactly. But you have to maybe
That's
ride
fantastic.
it. So maybe it's street and dirt.
Yes, of course.
And there's a couple of BMX as well. So like Roseville has a
Uh-huh.
BMX park, and then North Sacramento Highlands area has Elkhorn Bike Park, something like that. So
Okay.
there's a couple of BMX as well. So all of those options I think should be pursued.
Okay, perfect. I'll throw those into the notes so that the appropriate regions know about them. That's good stuff. Great. All right. If there isn't anybody else, I will go to the next one. This is lessons learned related to Love to Ride. And I'll pause to give Chelsea or Thomas a chance to jump in on some of these. But we've already been talking to an extent with them about these, and they're already either have addressed or are addressing them. So just FYI. The first one was to host a workplace challenge instead of a team challenge. We learned that last year, and we already made the change. Chelsea is all over it. She's definitely on it. But I posted a question to her last night about whether or not she could do a little training on the difference between a workplace challenge and instead of a team challenge, to kind of get everybody up to speed on what that means exactly. Because I struggled a little bit last year really understanding how it worked details wise. And so, Chelsea, if you can speak to that. I know the answer in your email, but I would love to hear your voice.
Yeah, of course. Hi, guys. Yeah, I mean, I think doing a training, like a call like this, where I can go through the differences, how it all works, and give everyone the opportunity to ask questions and just get really clear on how everything works, so that you guys can then go out there and promote it. 100% doable whenever you want, whenever works. So really, we can do it whenever, and I'm happy to do that.
Okay. And then from the partner standpoint, do you want that? Is that something that you all would be willing to participate in? Do you think it would help you, or no? Let me do it this way, since we're digital. If you're interested in having a Love to Ride training, put your hand up.
Of course, we can't see everybody's hands. Oh yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we do have enough that it seems like it would be worthwhile. So go ahead and put your hands back down.
We can always record it too, Shell, and then share it with this whole email list even.
Awesome. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, sweet. So let's get that going. Chelsea, I'll work with you on that. We'll send out a request to everybody to see when schedules will work, and then we'll make it happen. Right on. Thanks, Chelsea.
Yeah,
the next one is national versus regional website. This, I believe, is fixed. And what was happening was when you went to mayitspikemonth.com, for some reason it was defaulting to the national site. And I've actually checked it. I checked it yesterday. I've checked it a few times since then, and I've had zero problems with it. So is anybody else having issues with this still? Do you know? Okay. Until somebody says otherwise, I believe it's fixed. So cheers to Love to Ride. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The next one was the events page, more prevalent, and we fixed this halfway through the year, or halfway through the month, not halfway, maybe a week or two into the month. But Chelsea, the problem is it did not fix the mobile version.
Yeah, I remember that being the case. I've already talked to Thomas about this, so we're going to make sure that we'll do that again, but obviously we'll have a lot more time to test it and make sure it's working for everyone on all types of devices.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. And the next one is a hard one, which is the minimum age of 13 is challenging. We received feedback on this from a lot of people, largely because of the whole family-oriented thing that we've already been talking about. And I know there are some challenges, so I'll shush on this one too, and let Chelsea or Thomas address this one, because I know they have some thoughts.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of twofold. Obviously, the first thing is that we're running a workplace challenge. Obviously, it was a team challenge last year, but it's definitely going to be a workplace challenge for next year. And with that, the target demographic is people who are working. We want to promote that workplace competition as kind of the main audience for it. And then, of course, for them to get their families involved is like bonus, getting more people riding bikes. But if we were to try to engage children as like the main target demographic of this, it would just be a completely different thing. It would be all different marketing, different language. It wouldn't be a workplace challenge. So kids up above the age of 13 and over can get involved and log their rides. And obviously they're not taking part in that workplace challenge aspect of it. But for us to get younger children involved in the platform requires a lot more like technical resources, because we have to comply with data protection laws essentially for children, which is why like most social media platforms don't have kids under 13 allowed on them. It's the same kind of thing. But targeting the families as a way to get them involved in the challenge, like definitely, because parents are more likely to do something if they can kind of do it as part of their family. And even though the kids under 13 aren't able to log their rides on the site, we get the parents, we get the older kids. And the younger kids can still get involved with the actual riding of the bikes, which honestly is the most important part. So I hope that addresses everything, but if you guys have questions or concerns, please, I want to hear them.
Yeah, any comments, ideas, suggestions? Oh, Deb has her hand up.
I do. So one of the things I was just thinking about, I'm not 100% sure about how it would work, but what if classrooms in schools wanted to participate and they kind of did their collection of miles manually in the classroom on a, you know, bulletin board or what have you. And then the teacher from the school manually added in those miles for the class. So,
It's
you
still
know,
shared.
sorry.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, is that a viable possibility?
I've had people ask me that before, and it kind of comes down to like, because you need individual profiles for those points to accumulate appropriately, you would need profiles for those children. And because the profiles are public, we then like run back to the issue of not being able to have profiles for people who are under 13.
But I'm not offering up profiles for the kids. I'm offering a profile from the teacher, adult, who's
Okay.
like, it's, you know, it's Chelsea Aventos's classroom and here are her miles. But all of that collection of miles is happening manually inside the classroom with their own ways of keeping track of what kid is doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we can think about. The way that the site currently functions is that the total points for like a workplace, or I guess in this case, a classroom, are just a sum of all the people within it. So if there's no profiles for the students in that class, there's a way to log them just straight onto the workplace, if you know what I'm saying. There's no like, there's no home for them. So it's something we could, you know, bring to our product team and discuss and see, but that's currently just not possible on the way that the site runs, but it's a really good idea.
Okay, I'm going to keep thinking about it.
I will too.
Yeah, and that's when you said workplaces, that's what I was thinking of, is it with the schools. The school could be the workplace, which would be really cool. It's just a matter of getting the kids to be able to register. And then as far as the kids and the ages, I don't know if there's any thought. I mean, we obviously have to comply with the Children's Protection Act, and so I don't want to question that. But is there any way to do like different names or something that would allow them to register on the site, but not necessarily have their information posted? So things like that, maybe we just continue talking about it, not with the whole partner group. But it does seem like if we want to try to really focus on getting more people, that this would be an area that we focus on. For the partners, do any of you have comments on this? Agree, disagree? Thoughts?
I'll say something. I like that idea. Either the teacher submits it, or I mean, they can collectively give it to the admin in the office, you know, whatever classrooms want to participate, and give it to the admin in the office, and they can post it for the whole school. I mean, that's, you know, that includes teachers and students and anybody who wants to participate. I like that idea though.
Okay, so maybe we'll work with Love to Ride and see if they can come up with something without obviously doing something bad. Oh, go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, hi. I think you guys are onto something if you're able to do an aggregate for individual classrooms within a school, because when we were running our school campaigns pre-pandemic, we did a huge effort in that same model where we would, as the partner TMA, we would coordinate with the school and have schools fill out, classrooms fill out a form, and then we'd have a site coordinator at each of the school sites.
Yeah.
You know, do a data collection for each of the classrooms.
Meeting.
Hey, Oscar,
Okay.
or who is that?
Oh.
Whoever's talking? Sorry.
Mute yourself.
Can you mute yourself? Okay, go ahead, Melissa. I'm so sorry.
It was very successful,
Yeah.
and there was motivation there. I understand that you can't, you know, that it's with the way that the site is set up, it's challenging, but we found that to be a good model, and we're able to engage a lot of students and teachers and do a school-wide competition without having each child be recognized, but more on a class-wide level.
Yeah, that would be fun, like really fun.
So
Right.
just to,
Any- oh,
we've obviously done some thinking on engaging schools before, as this conversation's indicating, and the key thing is, as Chelsea said, is it would require like different messaging and a different sort of technology, and we've come up with ideas like on the profile page for schools, you just have a table saying like, you know, Tuesday the 1st of November, how many kids biked, and you might have it slightly different, not based on miles, but it's the number of children in that school as a percentage or some other system, because obviously the distances these kids are biking are much shorter. And we need to think about the behavior we want to encourage, and then the sort of the game mechanic that incentivizes, rewards that behavior. And then, of course, when you think about the behavior change journey and like, what if we could just do one thing in that period, what would it be? It might be like to get kids and their parents to bike to school, even just one time. So we're not saying bike every day, because some parent might be like, I can't do that. But if that is like, just try it, see what it's like. And here's the thing on the routes you can take to school, and here's the incentive, and do it. And then once they've done that, the next sort of level up might be see if you can do it for a week or 3 days of the week, or set a goal for how much you want to do. So there's a lot that goes into designing these behavior change interventions with these like specific audiences and intervention audiences, the parents and teachers, and then the messaging and communication and the design of the competition or reward system. And then of course the design of the technology. So we haven't wanted to half bake it, as I guess is the short story, but because we're getting interest from you guys and San Diego and other places, it strikes me that there's probably an opportunity to work more closely, get some money to design the intervention appropriately, pilot it, and then run it. But that's obviously, as you said a couple of times now, we should take this call offline and speak about it in more detail, because we want to do it right and do it well. Because there, as you just said, Melissa, there's a big opportunity to do something cool that does work, that is easy admin for the school, that has the desired impact of influencing people's travel behavior to school.
Yeah, and Thomas, you're thinking way bigger than what I was thinking. I was thinking, how can we involve schools in the format that we already have, the workplace format? And I love your vision. That's super cool. But I don't know, obviously, that we can get there. So I think for me, it's just like, what can we do this coming 2023 that won't exclude schools? I think
and so
that's
I would say just two things on that. First of all, there's teachers and administrators at these schools are workers. They work at the schools can compete. Hey, it's an initiative not for the kids this time, it's actually for you all. And obviously those are, you know, leaders in the school, and kids look up to them. And if a lot more teachers were biking to school, then parents would see that and kids would see that, and the, you know, we could get some culture change within schools. And then of course they're an audience to get the word out to parents. Like, you know, parents as individuals, if they don't work even, can still get rewards and incentives and take part in the program. So and they can of course get their employer signed up. So to communicate, having some marketing material that we can give to schools to then give to parents, digital or otherwise. This month, it's Bike Month, we're supporting kids and parents to ride. Like, we could have some information on the side about riding with kids. I think we already do have a quick course on that. We have a badge for riding with kids. So we can engage the kids and parents and teachers in this to a degree. And obviously the next level up, as I just described, is literally another level up.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. All right. Well, it sounds like we do have some talking to do, and then we can report back to the bigger partner group. But I'm actually pretty excited. This is neat. All right, just for the sake of moving on. So the next one, the very last one we have from lessons learned is tie SAC 511 to commute tracking app to the Love to Ride website. So I know that we did this from the website standpoint last year and it was working, but then I received this feedback that the app wasn't working. And quite frankly, I didn't know the details behind this, but I wanted to bring it to the table. The partner who brought this to the table, can anybody add more information on it to help Chelsea? Okay. If that person's not here, I'll reach out to the larger partner group and see if we can track them down. Because Love to Ride can't fix it if they don't know what it is. All right, cool. Then moving on to the next slide. So now jumping into the budget pinch points and ideas slide. And I'm actually going to, Deb, are you okay with taking this one?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I'm going to turn over to Deb.
Yeah, so before we took on and won the contract to do Mayor's Bike Month. As you well know, SACOG ran Mayor's Bike Month, and SACOG is a government agency. So they allocated money, they raised dollars for sponsors, et cetera, and then launched with all of the partners, and they ran Mayor's Bike Month. When we took it over last year, we basically kept or tried to keep to the exact same model because it was the first time we were doing it. And frankly, we didn't 100% know how it was going to go. And we threw everything into it, as we've talked about over, since we've been doing this. So what's on this slide is how it used to be. And this last year, we went and supported and got sponsors to the tune of $40,000, give or take, to purchase all the swag that you guys told us that you wanted, and then told us how much you wanted. And then Shelley and a couple of volunteers, but predominantly Shelley, divvied all of that up and worked to get that into your guys' hands. So that was the distribution model. And then we also organized and got a number of the prizes that were up on the Love to Ride website that the larger group could win, like the cargo bike at the very end, or messenger bags or helmets or whatever it was. So we took on all of that work in addition to having events, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where it's one of the places where it about killed us. So we want to figure out a way to do that differently this year. And we don't have a complete answer. And that's going to be our next point of discussion. And we really want your guys' interest in this, because we've talked about a number of different things. And, again, because we were moving late last year, we wanted we wanted to get as many logos as possibly on swag. Some of that worked out well, some of it didn't. And some of the feedback that we got was that partners wanted to have their logo on the swag, which makes a lot of sense. If you're, doing events in your location and in your neighborhoods, wouldn't you want to have your logos on it to also, point of pride, and also that, yep, we're a partner, we're involved in this, and it's been important for us to be in this whole larger space. So we wanted to talk about how to make this different. So Shel, do you want to go on to the next slide?
Yes.
So part of these lessons learned was to start earlier, right? Which one of the reasons why we're having this meeting. Swag was ordered, it ran late, there were glitches, and some of the swag we got well into May. We purchased a lot of swag, and not all of it was able to get distributed, nor was a lot of that swag distributed out. Once it was in your hands, did it get out into the public's hands, or not in the numbers in which that you had kind of ordered it up. Here's a great example. I was at a August 1st National Night Outs celebration, and there were a number of booths there from the city and other partner organizations that had received swag. This is in August, and they were handing out leftover Mayor's Bike Month swag, which is fine, but it means that it didn't go out in May, which was when it should have gone out. So in a perfect world, we would get swag and it would all be distributed and out in everybody's hands by May 31st or June 1st. You get the gist of where I'm going. So we can really celebrate what's going on in May. So one of the biggest things is that we really want to simplify distribution and figure out how to do that, especially for those of you that are farther away from Sacramento and the city of Sacramento, which is where SABA headquarters is located. So I think that's the main question. Obviously, almost everybody loved tote bags and almost everybody loved socks, and we're thinking about those again. But then everything else, buttons and slap bands, stickers, all the other pieces and bits and pieces that we had were not everybody loved everything, and yet most everybody asked for everything, but not everything then got distributed. So that is a bit of the tension that we want to try to rectify and do differently this year. Okay.
I think the question on the table, kind of tying back to the budget pinch points and ideas, is, I'm trying to say this without being rude, but we were hoping that the partners would jump in on more things.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the basis of this discussion, is how can the partners get more involved? The second part is that the partners wanted their logos on swag, but we only put logos on the swag of people who actually donated money.
Right.
So I just wanted to be clear about that. And I mean, I think that's kind of what we intend to do in the future. And I don't think that's going to change, because I mean, that does kind of make rational sense, since the ones who donate money are the ones that pay for the swag. So that was really the question, is how can we get more from the partners? What are your ideas? What are your thoughts? What do you think is the right thing to do? I mean, this is a regional campaign, so it's something where we kind of all have to work together as a team in a way, which means some of the bigger entities are probably going to be supporting some of the smaller entities. But that's the idea of a regional campaign. There's also benefits of us doing our swag together, because if we all do it at one time, we get it a lot cheaper, like a lot cheaper. So
Right.
that's something to consider also as we start this discussion. And then the next slide is actually, before I open it up to the full discussion, this is all tied, so not exactly the same discussion. But we do have the opportunity to have swag delivered to 6 different locations in the region. And so we would like to define places where those distribution points will be. So step 1 is really to talk about how we're going to handle swag. So kind of the budget pinch points discussion. And then step 2 would be the logistics of that. So step 1, just kind of opening it up to partners. Ideas, thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I'll just say one last thing, in that the model that SACOG used, that we adopted this last year, it worked, but it was not perfect. And we'd love for more partner participation in this aspect of the campaign going forward.
So partners, what do you think?
Well, to break the ice, I think it's perfectly appropriate to only put the logos, the company logos, on the swag for those that are, making donations. So I think that's just fine. And if if we don't get enough of that, maybe we just don't need the personal logo thing. It's a nice to have, but maybe not a need.
Okay. Thank you for breaking the ice on the discussion.
Hey Shelly, this is JJ with the
Hi.
Air District.
Hi.
I want to just say starting early was a very good idea. This got me and Paul thinking about seeing what budget, if any, we have available to help with the program, things like that. So we're looking on that from our end. And then overall for swag, I would say it did feel like there was a lot last year. And just because our office was still transitioning from in-person to, I think, semi-permanent telecommuting, it was a little harder to distribute. So that might explain why we had a bit left over that season. But at least that was the case for the Air District. It was a lot harder to get the things out to my team just because I wasn't there the same day as most people. So my 2 thoughts, maybe less stuff generally. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but I'm not sure we need the t-shirts, things like that.
Yeah, JJ, just since you brought it to the table, I'll ask you specifically, and then of course anybody else can weigh in or as well. So you said maybe less stuff. I mean, that is a great suggestion, because then it would cost less money. As far as the less stuff, did you have thoughts as to what we would need versus not need?
I know that in our agency, historically, the top cyclists, the people that really participate and get into this, always love the socks. So I will pitch that you keep the socks. I don't know. I imagine that's one of the more expensive items. Otherwise, yeah, if you want specifics, I'm not 100% sure we need a zillion shirts. Otherwise, I think just being picky about things that people would actually use. I thought the little lights were neat. People seem to like those. So things like that.
Okay, perfect. And I've actually already been talking to the swag distributor, and he said that this year, instead of doing the tote bags, that they have a backpack bag, simple ropes, but he said he thought that would be better for cycling. So we talked about that as a potential too, just FYI. But back to the subject at hand, does anybody else want to weigh in on their thoughts? ideas?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, this is Jenny McCormick. Hi, I will second the comments made about the swag. I certainly had loads of t-shirts left, but all the socks were gone, and a lot of the and I didn't have any problem getting rid of the tote bags, but certainly the ones that are like the small backpacks, I think would be a better choice for bicycling, and for anybody that's walking or, you know, doing any other exercise. I think it's easier having a backpack. I, because because I'm working on a linear park, it was, it's always a difficult thing to get everyone gathered in one place in my case. So, but definitely I thought that the socks were good, and maybe like, I don't know, were there water bottles, or I'm not sure. I can't even remember. That's terrible, but
no, we didn't do them.
Yeah, I didn't think so. And the bells, I think, because I'm trying to encourage the use of bells on the trail myself. So I've been looking into getting some and putting our logo on bells myself. So I'm not sure if that's something that's important to other folks, but it's definitely a good thing on our trail. So anyway, that's my comments.
Perfect.
I
All
love
right.
bells.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
I'll
Deb.
just say I love bells. We're
I do
getting a
too.
number of things coming up in the comments too.
Oh,
So,
I can't even see the comments. So yay.
but I can. Maybe little seat bags, things that are really useful, lights. A number of people have said, yeah, we're done with the t-shirts. And you guys, just so you know, we've talked about t-shirts in the past, and we didn't do them because sizing is basically a nightmare. Like, how many smalls, how many triple XLs, and everything in between. Socks, they're still a big winner. Stickers are always fun, especially for the kids. So maybe it'll be, you know, something like socks and bells, which are also small, which is nice from the standpoint of distribution, right?
Yes.
That was one of the reasons why we didn't do water bottles. While they're lightweight, they, you know, a box of water bottles, which usually comes in a set of 24, is a really good sized box. So imagine 100, 150 water bottles coming your way. That's just a lot. So yeah, maybe May is Bike Month flags that we can attach to bikes that are fun, that are smaller, that wave around and, you know, are fun. So yeah, there's some really fun stuff that's coming up in the chat. Keep them coming, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And I actually am now looking at the chat. I apologize. I didn't have it on my screen, so I missed it. And I am, I'm actually sharing the wrong screen. Hold on. Sorry.
You had the PowerPoint up, Shell.
Okay. It was, for some reason, it looked like it hopped over to the other screen. Okay. There we go. It seems happy. So these are killer ideas. I'm actually writing them in some notes, which I will send out with the meeting when I send out the link to the recording as well. I'm typing and talking at the same time. Reflective stickers. But some questions, again, part of this discussion that we did want to have is over funding all this stuff. And so I love the ideas of what to purchase, but this stuff is expensive. And so part of it also is having that discussion of other recommendations for funding associated also with getting the logos on the stuff. And Gabriel actually brought up, he was the first one to bring it to the table, that he thought that it was appropriate for sponsors to have their logos and not necessarily partners. So if anybody else wants to weigh in on that, you're welcome to. Or anything else.
Yeah, Shelley, I don't know if you had a sponsorship sort of kit or packages last year. You might have, and I just don't remember, but that would be useful, and getting those set up early will be helpful for smaller organizations like YOLO Commute and other TMAs to decide, can we carve out a little bit of our meager funding that we do have available to put towards Maze Bike Month sponsorship?
That's brilliant, Brian. We did put together a sponsorship, and we used it widely. So the idea of putting it into all of your hands to then is like genius. Hello.
Yeah.
It's great.
And we can send that out now because we can use the same one we had from last year. So cheers, Brian, for bringing that up. So I'll send that out to everybody also as a follow-up email, so that not only will you have that in your hot little hands, but you can also potentially use it to fundraise for yourselves. So yeah, that's a really great suggestion. Perfect. Any other thoughts?
I think I could really use, beside, after we get to Jeffrey, because his hand is up, I would really love sort of a fist to five about how people feel about moving in this direction. Because it's really kind of it's an important one for us in terms of our planning and what we are going to be able to do.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeffrey.
Sure. Yeah, just a quick comment on the partners and sponsors and logos. So just working with my children's school on different events, it's kind of like pay to play. People do give money. They do want to see their logo on it. And it gets, I don't know, if we're not doing t-shirts, what the logos would go on, if it would be banners or other things or on the website. But I do think that that's reasonable, and there could be less prominent locations for logos of partners who are not necessarily giving funds. But I think, we need funds to get this done. So give folks that prime real estate, and then, I don't know, that's just my opinion, and it seems to work.
Thanks. Very helpful. I appreciate the opinion. All right, anybody else? Okay. Again, everybody, feedback is welcome. If you don't want to talk about it on the call, big picture, obviously in the chat is helpful, as well as you can follow up with Deb and I by email. We also, there's a couple people that weren't able to make the meeting that I offered to set up a partner specific meeting just to talk through with them how we can work together. So if there's a benefit in us meeting instead of a big group like this, but having a more intimate conversation to talk about how we can partner with each other, let me know that as well. It may be good to have like an Elk Grove meeting or a Davis meeting or even a region meeting if we were to focus on counties. So it is hard with this many people to actually get action items done just because it's such a big group. But at the same time, we don't want to exclude anyone. So that's the reason we're holding the big meeting. So give us feedback by email, please, and we will listen and do what we can to act upon it. So, all right, well, let me go ahead and continue with the presentation that I have. So that the distribution, I did see somebody posted about the YOLO commute. Who was that? Oh, it was Brian. Yay.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, Brian, would you be the contact for that, or would you like me to harass somebody else?
Nope, just pencil my name in.
Okay, awesome. So YOLO is good to go on this one then. And other distribution points, is there anybody that would like to offer potentially to be a distribution point for one of the counties that's not been addressed? So Sutter, Yuba, Placer, Sacramento, or El Dorado?
Well, we can be the one for Sacramento.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Makes sense.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that.
Shelley, this is Mike Costa over at PCTPA. I'm happy to continue to be a distribution for Placer County.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, you were wonderful last year. I really appreciated all your help.
Hi, this is Jenny McCormick. I'm in El Dorado, so I can manage El Dorado County if that helps.
Fantastic, that's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, so we've got Sacramento, YOLO, Placer, El Dorado.
Hey,
So
Shell, I know that Sacramento's already spoken for, but if there's a desire to split Sacramento, Rancho Cordova can also help out as well, if it's helpful.
Fabulous,
awesome.
Drew. It's totally helpful. Yeah, great.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you definitely hit a geographical area that is different, so that would be fantastic.
I know some people have an allergy to going into downtown, so it
Yeah.
might help with that.
That's why I tried to offer up my house, because I kind of have that allergy. So I was like, if you want to come to ESAC instead. So yes, absolutely, and that's even better because it'll keep them from having to come even close to downtown. So that would be fantastic. All right, then. So we're missing Placer, Yolo, Sutter. Is there anybody that can pick up Sutter? And Yuba.
Yeah.
Okay. Not everybody's on this call, so we'll send out this recording to all of the other partners. I'll also send out an email asking for some assistance here. And if all fails, we'll load the stuff up in my truck and get it out there. So we'll do what we have to do to make it happen. All right, the next slide. So now we're to the action item part. So this is the what you can do now. Oh, Claudine, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I just want to say, not that I don't want to go see my yellow commute folks way out there, but can I just have mine all at the Sacramento? Because I have 2 locations, one in Natomas, and Capitol Yards is literally across the street from downtown, so I really don't want to drive that far to pick it up. So
I don't blame you.
No, we'll work that out, Claudine. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem at all. Okay. Now for the what you can do now. And again, for all of us to be successful and get more involved, this is actually important to start now. For one, I am creating a timeline of things that need to be done, basically of all the action items for May's Bike Month that need to be done. And it is 50% probably done. And I will either post it or get it out to all the partners when it's a little farther along. But as far as what needs to be done now, so really from now until the end of the year, the first thing is I was hoping that you would all create a list of events, again, cycling and non-cycling events. So this can be movie nights, it can be sporting events, it can be anything that you can think of that would be in your region, and potentially reach out to that event organizer to see if you could attend with a May's Bike Month table of some kind. Obviously, if you need support from Saba, let us know, because if we can get to you, Saba will help. Me as a volunteer, I would be more than willing to drag a table out there and help as well. So just keep us posted. And then feedback on this, I was trying to think of some way to bring us all together on this. Do you think a Google tracking form, or basically a Google sheet where we all put our events on it, would be helpful, or is that too much of a commitment?
I think that would be good to start us getting organized.
Okay.
Yeah, whether everyone participates or not, just to get our ideas together, get on the same page.
Okay, fantastic. I would love it, because then we can actually take that sheet and get it over to Love to Ride. So it would save us a lot of work. And that was a place that poor Chelsea was we were throwing things at her left and right last year, and she was working her butt off getting everything up. But if we could start earlier, that would be fantastic. So, okay, well, since I had one supporter, I will go ahead and create it and get it out there, and I will send everybody the link. And if you're willing to use that, again, it may also be good to make sure that we don't have 2 different entities contacting the same event. Because we do want to look like we're a smooth-oiled machine. So if possible, and you're willing to use it, I would be very grateful. Next one is start reaching out to sponsors. So we're hoping that some of the partners can also help with fundraising. And I will send you, my action item is to send you the sponsor package that we used last year that shows what the sponsors get based on how much money. And then, of course, we can talk through email if you want to change that or tweak it. If we need to make any other type of coordination, we can do it through email. Next one is schedule group rides. The more you can get on the calendar now, the better. And so we'll work with Chelsea to get the event calendar up when the time is appropriate, but probably sooner than later. So that would be awesome. The more you can get on the calendar. And don't forget that May 3rd is Bike to School Day. So you need to start a lot earlier for the Bike to School Day, which means reaching out to the schools, reaching out to the PTAs, reaching out to really start that much earlier. And then participate in routine meetings, which includes sharing ideas, motivating each other, and then making sure that we don't overlap our efforts. So I will continue to schedule meetings with everyone, and we will continue to record them and post them so that everybody can see them. But we can also communicate with each other individually or by email. So just please get excited. So that is actually all I have. I did want, Deb, if you want to, I don't know if you have anything to say to close, or if anybody else has any questions. We have 4 minutes left.
How about that? We could end early. Amazing. Certainly up to taking questions. I don't want to sound like a wet blanket, you guys. We're really excited about having done May as Bike Month last year with all of y'all. And SACOG was thrilled. So we're, really ready to do it again. We just want to make it bigger, better, badder, and reach more people. So, we're already psyched up about it, and I'm already starting to bank sleep because I'm doing a membership meeting for Sava Thursday night, and I'm working on our PowerPoint for it. And I was just doing the May as Bike Month slides, and like super stoked, right? There's just a lot going on. But as you might remember, the thing that I do the least during May is actually ride a bike, because we're out making sure all this other stuff happens. So my personal goal is to be able to ride my bike more during May as Bike Month. And that means that with all of our participation and, making stuff happen, and we'll all be able to ride our bikes. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, well said, Deb. That should be our goal. The partner's goal is to be able to ride your bikes, which means we have to plan. All right, any other questions or comments before we hop off?
Thank you.
Right.
Just want to say thank you. Thank you, Saba.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gabriel.
No problem.
Thank you.
And go team. Start planning now. Get stuff on the calendar. Do great things. Go
Hey, you
team.
guys, let us hear from you. We really, doors are open, emails are open, and, we're excited. So please let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, please, please. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thanks much. See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.